Okay, everybody. So just want to introduce myself. I'm Gaynor Marsh, the Careers Coordinator here at One. And this evening we're doing our launch of Developing Employability Skills for the Future event, ideally for our current Year 12 parents and guardians, but we also have some of our prospective students from feeder schools here this evening as well. And this evening, just a little bit of housekeeping first of all, just to say that we do have toilets that are just actually here in the turquoise zone and just out in the main atrium. We are recording this first session, so please don't swear. And we are going to be sharing this as a resource afterwards. It's a really kind of fluid night tonight, so it is a chance for you to listen to this presentation, but also go out into the atrium, speak to our staff members and also our guests that will be speaking this evening as well. So with further ado, I'm just going to run through a little bit of what we're going to cover this evening. So we've got employer engagement at One, an overview, a little bit more about work and industry placements and how your young person can prepare. We're also welcoming Crane, or an engineering company that we closely work with for their employers' perspective. We're also joined by the New Anglia Local Enterprise Partnership. And you'll find out a little bit more about us, the careers team, and how we can support you. We're going to be hearing from our lead for Institute of Directors, Paul Hinchcliffe, as well. And then we've got a variety of subject-specific opportunities and some of our staff members speaking a little bit more about the employer engagement that is available. So I'm going to hand over, first of all, to Andrew Adamson. And he's our Deputy Head of Centre, and he's just going to give you a little bit of an overview about engagement at One.
Gaynor, thank you so much for that. And just while I'm here, it is great to see so many people who have given up their time this evening to come and listen to me, frankly. Thank you for that. But what I would like to absolutely do is there's a number of colleagues, members of staff that you're going to meet this evening, including Gaynor, our technicians that have set up the event for this evening, and they're obviously doing the recording, and the number of members of staff that have stayed behind tonight voluntarily, I promise, to come and give you a bit of information. As Gaynor said, my name is Andrew Adamson. One of the areas that I am particularly focused on here at the college is what we would describe as vocational education. About 50% of our students here are doing an A-level programme or are doing A-levels within their course, and around half are also doing a vocational course. We have two technical qualifications. So these are industry standard qualifications that students do. That's in beauty therapy and motor vehicle. They have, as an inherent part of the course, an integral part of the course, is work-related experience and activity. Cast our minds back, 2.5 years ago now, March 2020, work experience, employer engagement, having visitors come in, working with students, having students going out and doing work placements or gaining work experience came to an absolute stop, absolute standstill. For about 2 years, 2 academic years, that makes sense. None of us could sort of go out or have what we would describe as our normal lives that we were used to. So over the past year in particular, I just wanted to, I made a note of some of these earlier on today just to share with you. So over the past year, we have set up a steering group, and we've got colleagues who are supporting that. So we have an ambition to make sure that our vocational education is excellent, so that One Sixth Form College becomes the regional centre of excellence for any student who is looking to do a vocational qualification, whether or not they progress to university, or onto an apprenticeship, or a degree apprenticeship, or onto further work and or study. So we've set up a steering group, so we have somebody external to us and a number of businesses as well, scrutinising what we're doing to make sure that we are giving our students the expertise and experiences and skills that are required to go and work in the workplace, and that is unique. It doesn't happen anywhere else. We have two fabulous dedicated members of staff who now work with us, whose job it is to coordinate work experience, work placements for students. In some cases, they're industry placements, so they have a bit more time. They will engage with employers, they'll carry out the risk assessments, and they will do all of the organisation. They literally deal with hundreds of employers, hundreds of students, so we've got 2 dedicated staff for that. And the work they've done over the past year is staggering. We also have a digital platform, Growthfar, so we've invested in a platform so that it's a student centred piece of kit that students can log their activities, what skills they've learned, any projects that they're engaging with. So it's a student-led activity. We have excuse me, a newsletter that Gaynor puts out every Wednesday, or What's on Wednesday, that has, frankly, rafts of information about students either progressing to university or getting ready for the workplace. List of opportunities. They can be part-time jobs, they can be work experience opportunities, and I mean, it's huge, the amount of information that goes on there. So there's a lot of work that's happened over the past year since the pandemic to better prepare our students for the world of work. So I'm just going to start off by, it might be a bit small for you to see, but our 3 pillars that we condensed everything down into our mantra, really, in terms of employer engagement. Our job here at 16th Form College, as I suppose any other college within the region, is to take students probably about the age of 16, maybe 17, and in 2 or 3 years' time, deliver them to wherever it is they want to go next. For some it's university, as I said before, it's about half. For many it is into an apprenticeship or the world of work, and our job is to support them in terms of progression. So we've done a lot of research with a number of employers, universities, some of the top schools, I say top schools, top name schools, so Eton, Cheltenham Ladies College, a number of schools, to find out what it is that they give to their students that they end up in the top jobs in the country. And the first one is to make sure that the students have qualifications. Well, that sort of goes without saying if you take it at face value. If you go to a bakery, you sort of expect to walk out with a loaf of bread. If you go to a college, you expect to walk out with some qualifications, but it goes deeper than that. We make sure that the qualifications, the awarding bodies, are the right ones for the students to be able to progress to university, or the industry is saying this is the awarding body, or this is the qualification that we need our students to do. And in some cases, adding on additional parts. So if you're an engineering student, you'll pick up an additional qualification later on in the year with SolidWorks, because that is what industry is saying they want to have when they employ you. Similarly with motor vehicle. If you're a motor vehicle, are there any motor vehicle students in here? If you're doing motor vehicle, over the next year or so you will pick up some additional qualifications, because employers have told us if you have the accreditation to fit and to service air conditioning, you're far more employable. And obviously in the world of hybrid technology, as we move towards electric vehicles, we add on an additional qualification at the end of the course in working with hybrid technology. So we've listened to the employers and they've said, this is what we want you to provide students, and we'll give them a job at the end of it. So that's what we mean by qualifications. The last pillar is about character strengths. And again, it's 8, and there's probably 100, but there's 8 that we have listened to those employers, we've listened to universities in terms of these are the characteristics, the attributes, the traits that we want you to work with students to develop so that they are better ready for the world of work. And then the middle one, which is obviously the theme for this evening, is connections. Our mantra, if you like, is for all of our students to have interactions, engagements, meetings, experiences with employers, so that all students leave with at least 2 business cards, 2 contacts, 2 phone numbers, so that when they leave university or they leave college here, they'll be able to pick up the phone or send an email and say, I met you at this event, or I did some work experience for you, I've taken your advice, I've finished my qualification, I have a certificate, and let's be honest, There's going to be, some point this year, 250,000 kids in the UK who have got a certificate, but I've got the right certificate, and can you give me a job? Can you give me an opportunity? Can you point me in the right direction? And that's part of some of the outcomes, if you like, of what the guys this evening after me will give to you. Cass will do a much better job on this in a minute, but we are bound, because we're a school, we're a college, to meet the government's Gatsby benchmarks. Very easy for you to go and have a look at those. Some of you will be very familiar with them. Some of you, if you're students, might have had an introduction to these at school. But we need to make sure that we meet the framework, that we tick all the boxes to make sure that all of our students get the best opportunity to progress. So our attitude is making sure every young person who needs high quality careers guidance and that they can make informed decisions about their future. Rather than what we say they should do, we want to give them all of the information to make that choice. We aim to provide good career guidance, obviously with social justice. We're in the Eastern region, we're in Suffolk. With the geography is we don't have that much in the way of big conurbations in the same way as you might do in Birmingham, Manchester, Bristol, Edinburgh, for example. And the Gatsby benchmarks are here to support all schools and colleges to help achieve good career guidance. And before I pass on, I just want to give you some feedback that we received at the end of April. For those of you who aren't aware, we did have a visit from Her Majesty's Inspectorate Ofsted, and I want to give you some feedback. It is on the Ofsted website if you want to go and have a look. But this is what they said. They said that students are prepared exceptionally well for employment. Teachers and managers work closely with employers so that students develop the relevant skills for future employment. For example, in engineering, employers contribute to the sequencing of the curriculum and set challenging tasks, such as determining the pressure tolerances of valves and pressurised pipes. There's a couple of guys in the room know exactly where that came from. Teachers provide students with a broad range of extra opportunities to extend their learning beyond the requirements of the curriculum. For example, motor vehicle students gain valuable additional qualifications in air conditioning and hybrid vehicle maintenance. Students in some other areas take part and will be taking part over the next couple of years in world skills competitions to help them improve their skills to meet industry standards. So we have, and there's a raft of feedback that we collected throughout the week. We have, thankfully, had fabulous endorsement from Ofsted as well in terms of getting our students ready for the world of work. So I've probably spoken for long enough, and I'd like to hand over now to Cassandra Fisher.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Cassandra Fisher. I am the Group Director for Industry Placements, Careers and Connections. Thank you ever so much for listening and coming along this evening. I've got my notes with me because I've only given 10 minutes, so I'm going to try and give you as much of an overview as I can in regards to work placements at Suffolk 1 here as I can in that time. So, as Andrew mentioned, the 3 pillars. We believe here that academic achievement alone is not the key to success. We know that 2 out of 3 employers rate quality work experience as being of significant, if not critical value for young entrants to the labour market. Previous work experience, as we all have known and experienced it over the years, does not enable students to develop the technical skills that are needed and the experiences needed for employers. There are critical skills shortages in the economy, and employers believe that a top priority for educational establishments is that we should be developing students' awareness of working life with support from business. How do we achieve that? Through successful partnerships and collaboration with industry. looking at the job roles that are available in the different industries students are studying, looking at local labour market information to carve out a careers plan for every student here at Suffolk One, to raise their aspirations. Interactions with employers will develop character strengths and employability skills the students need. Support. Our teams here will support students to make those vital connections for progressional opportunities. We've had so many success stories here of students from the past who have made fantastic impressions on employers, which has resulted in excellent opportunities as a direct result of their connection with that employer. Most importantly, experience is vital, and students will get the chance to transfer their skills that they're learning in the classroom to a real-life working environment, and that is key and very valuable. We all remember our first time, good or bad, walking into employers' premises for the first time, the smell, the noise, the sound, what we did, it's all there ingrained in our brains from all those years ago. So that is a vital part of our courses here at One. So how do we do all of that? There are many different ways that employers contribute to our courses here. We offer a whole host of meaningful employer engagement, and I've put some examples here. Work placement is not just about going to an employer's premises and doing a job for a week. It's about making any employer encounter count. So you could be on a course here which provides an external work placement where you immerse yourself in a job role in the employer's premises, but you could also be doing an industry placement 1 day a week along the whole 2 years you're here. Employer-led projects, what we love is external employers setting our students projects to do and evaluating at the end, giving feedback and references on how well the students achieved their targets. Virtual work placement is still happening from the lockdown period. We are still connecting virtually. And in that virtual way, we can invite more employers into our classroom, delivering on the courses directly from the employer. Work-related experience on our site here, careers fairs, employer events, site visits. The opportunities are endless. Students will benefit from all of this by getting up-to-date industry practice and teaching for future skills, for future jobs. The stigma of work experience, of what it was, is gone. It's no longer a burden on students. We often think about being put anywhere as a student, making tea, filing, not wanting to be there. When you're now at college level, what we're doing is referring to it as work placements rather than work experience. We are now looking to place students in occupationally specific job roles, which are relevant to the course they're studying. What that now means is they're making meaningful contributions to the workplace, and they're actually making a difference. And employers are seeing actually what our young people can do. So why? As a student, why should you get involved with all the employer engagement opportunities we have here? When it comes to why, the what's in it for you guys, it's a tough world out there at the moment, and experience is key. We are kind of in a cycle where young people can't get experience without experience. So we kind of need to inspire our students to take advantage of the opportunities they have right now to enhance their future. If there are 2 students applying for the same job role at the end of their course, applying for the same university place, one has the academic qualifications. The other has the academic qualifications, but they've enhanced their CV with industry-relevant work placements, for having the opportunity to develop their practical and technical skills in a role directly relevant to their course, showing commitment to the industry area they want to work within. that commitment that they're showing to that university, to that employer, will give them the competitive edge that they need. There are a whole host of student benefits. I put them up there, I'm not going to go through every single one of them, but experience is key. And the more experience you can pack your CVs out with, the more successes you'll have in the future. I also think it's really important to acknowledge that our students are the workforce of the future. Work placement is not a burden on the employer either. The benefits are also there. I've listed some examples here, but we know that employers hosting students is proven to be beneficial to recruitment. If you can show an employer what you've got, you're more likely to get a progression opportunity with them. There are so many growing industries in our local area and a wealth of talent right here at Suffolk One. So we have to open students' eyes to the opportunities that are on our own doorstep and grow our own talent from home. How can you prepare your young people for all of this? Know the expectations of the course. I can't stand here and tell you exactly which course does what, because every course we'll hear works differently, because they tailor the employer engagement to suit the needs of the industry they're studying. So it's really important that you talk to your curriculum, to your dedicated work placement officer, and understand what the minimum requirements of the course are. But I would urge you all to not just hit the minimum requirement, but to go above and beyond. Think outside the box, think progression, and think enhancement. Engage with the opportunities. You'll hear later on how hard the careers team and the work placement team work to bring opportunities to you as students. You will be communicated with as parents as well with what's going on, with fantastic What's on Wednesdays communications, employers coming into the centre doing presentations at lunchtime, in the classroom, events, trips. So all of those will be communicated to you. This is where you can help. Inspire and motivate your young person to engage with those opportunities for the reasons that I've just been through. Research local area. So students travel across the whole of the county of Suffolk and beyond to come to Suffolk One. What I'm asking is the students to come with ideas of what they want to do, how they want to do it, where they want to do it, and open those doors. Give us the information and we can tailor a programme suitable for your student to aid with their future progression. All we're asking is for you to talk to us and tell us what you want, and we'll try and meet that. Networking. Please use your own networks. We have a network of over 50,000 employers that we work with across the whole of Suffolk, but you will all have your own contacts and your own networks as well. Please talk to the friend of the friend who works in a business in this area and your son or daughter wants to go into, and see if we can open doors. The work placement team. As Andrew mentioned, there is a team of work placement officers dedicated to helping every one of you. If you need a work placement to aid progression to university, we can help you source one. If you need a work placement to hit mandatory requirement to partial qualification, we're there. We have a careers and work placement hub. Please visit us and encourage your young person to come and visit us to discuss the progression. Finally, hopefully your young person will be able to do all of that and help themselves, and you can help support them as well, but many of you will also work for an employer. And if you think your employer might be able to help us out with hosting work experienced students, or coming in and talking about their business, or sharing the industry practice with any of our students, or getting involved in the college in any way, please let me know. I'm here for the whole of the evening. Please talk to me in the atrium or one of the work placement or careers team. Thank you. nicely done. And I am handing it over to...
Me.
Ah, what it was. There we go. Lovely.
Thank you very much, Cass. So, as Cass said, we can support with a whole wide range of things, to help your young person gain those employer encounters while they're here with us. I thought it'd be really nice for all of you to actually meet one of our employers that we work closely with, a company called Crane, and I'm going to introduce you now to Richard, and he's going to give you a little bit about his perspective and how he has worked with us here at One.
Thank you. Good evening to you all. So we're Crane. Some of you may have heard of us, some of you may not. So why did Crane get involved with Suffolk One? Well, we're a multinational organisation, and so we're sort of all over the globe. Many engineering sectors, but the UK focus, we're on fluid handling and fluid process flow technologies. So in essence, what we do here at Ipswich is valves. So we've got a strong historical association with Ipswich. We've been here many, many years. In fact, the Ipswich Foundry began in 1921, so quite some length of time, and in the peak of sort of the 70s and the 80s, we were operating on a 44-acre site. So what we found actually when we were here, many of the students, they did have relatives or other sort of close friends who had actually worked with Crane at that time. We're still here. The Building Service and Utilities head office and our testing centre is based in Ipswich still. We're on the Ransom Industrial Estate, so we're nearby. But really, why did we get involved? Well, I mean, as a business as a whole, we're interested in development, and we sort of really value the input that we could have made to sort of education and future generations and the new engineers that are coming through. I work for an engineering team. I've got my colleagues here as well. We've been through the same steps, the same processes. We've had to go through education. We've had to do college. Some went on to universities. We've had to do work placements. We've had to do the work experience as well. So we've sort of been through it. We know how to sort of try and contribute that back. So what have we done with Suffolk One? First really started in 2020 with mock interviews. And that first started off with the Year 13s who were then finishing, so we were sort of trying to do a full-on interview experience to try and help them with their first role. It developed again in 2021, and we did the same again this year as well, where we opened it up, and it was really more tailored towards the students getting engineering work placements. So what we did, we set up a sort of a mock application, a mock role that we encouraged the students to apply for, and this year we did interviews with a total of over 50 students. And it engaged actually I counted 24 Crane members, and it wasn't just ourselves in engineering, but it was business-wide. So it was from graduates that we had all the way up to vice presidents and presidents of the company as well. So there was a sort of full-on experience. We had the whole business involved in that. Okay. So yeah, like I said, how do we do that? We had a job specification. Students had to apply with a covering letter, a CV. We wanted to see their skills. They then had about a 45-minute interview with a team member. That was done via Teams as well, very much the way things are done these days. Of course, starting with the Teams we had to, we began this, of course, in 2020 with the COVID situation as well. Must say the students handled it very, very well, so it was a real positive experience for everybody. From that interview, we give formal feedback, so we're not just going through the process of the 45-minute interview. We're writing notes, we're giving feedback, and we do share that back to the college as well. And one thing we're trying to push for now is an awards for that as well, so that students that do stand out that we think are exceptional, we try and give a small reward in return for that. So what are our expectations of the students in this interview process? Well, we want to see oral and written communication through their CV, their covering letter, and how they talk to us on the day as well. We want to see their engineering knowledge, what they think they understand is relevant to what we do. We're looking for enthusiasm during the interview. We want to see people who are passionate about not just the job application itself, but passionate about the subject, passionate about engineering. And also suitability for the role. So we're looking to see really, would they be a good fit, how they conduct themselves with others, how they can share information, and how they can present themselves as well. The second thing we've been involved in is a series of workshops. So this year we did 5 one-day workshops with the level 3s, year 12s and year 13s. So we came on site here to do that. It was myself and 2 or 3 other colleagues each time we came in. And it was specifically about Crane. It was all about what we do, our products, and how we sort of engineer new products. So the content, and we were very fortunate with this, and our thanks go to the engineering staff here who helped us as well, because we weren't just left alone to do it. We had a lot of engagement prior to the event, so that we were aligned to course content, and we were mapping against the curriculum as well. Particularly nice just to hear those comments again that were read out earlier on from the Ofsted report that picked up on that, so that's a real positive for us as well. Like I say, all activities are based on Crane products and what we do. Some of the things we did there, we had pressure testing, we did a dimensional study of components that we actually have designed and manufactured here in the UK that actually go into real products. We did an investigation into different product types, and actually students did actually build a product as well. So we brought all the components in, and students were challenged with building that as well. The true test of that, they had to do a pressure test on that at the end as well, so we soon found out quickly those that didn't follow instructions and didn't pay attention. And that was part of the fun of it as well. All the work was led through activity workbooks. We had all the supporting material with it as well, and we did a real mix of us talking, lectures, and practical mix of work as well. So the student response to that on the day, we were a little bit apprehensive. We weren't too sure how it was going to go. We weren't too sure how we were going to come across because we're seeing the students for the first time. It's challenging for us as well. But it was a real positive experience for us. We had a great 5 days here. The students, we found they really embraced the technical challenges we set them. They really got involved. It was pleasing to see how many of them got engaged with what we were trying to do. Loved the opportunity for practical testing. It wasn't all theory-based work, so actually handling products, building them and testing them. And what we found as well was as they were building the valves and testing them, there was a real personal ownership developing of what they were trying to do. They really took engaged with it, and sort of, even those who perhaps at the beginning weren't as interested, by the end of it, were trying to compete against each other to build the best product to see what they could do. Feedback on understanding relationships and the course learning to real-world practice. So it wasn't just theory, it wasn't just engineering. It was actually taking what they've been learning in their own course content and relating it to what we were doing, such as the dimensional work, testing of products. It was really engaging with them, looking at the materials. And I think it gave some relevance to the qualifications. I think the students could see that what they were learning wasn't just theory, it was put into real-world practice. It was good also to represent what happens in Ipswich. We're a big company, we've been here many, many years, and I think it's important for the students to see as well that they could understand what actually was in the area as well, not just Ipswich, but the Suffolk area as well. Gained insight to what we do as a business, so we are a designer, we are a manufacturer, and it put that relevance again back onto the qualifications. And also the experience as well from the interviews, it gave them the opportunity to learn about themselves and really to test the water going through interviews and what they need to do to try and improve themselves and to come across better. There were some students as well that we didn't just see engagement, we saw real depth engagement into what they were doing. There were many students who were asking about more about what we do, challenging us with questions as well. And as such, we've had quite a few inquiries for employment and work experience, and we are pleased to now say that we have actually just accepted another engineering student for a 2-week work placement in December as well. So that's something we want to try and continue with at all times. And I say this not just for Crane, but other industries that may be thinking about it as well. But why get involved? Why go to this effort? Well, for us it's important. Like I say, we've got this long history with Ipswich, and it's really important for us as a team to put back into that local community. We feel the need to contribute to do that. It is a long-running historical relationship. We want to keep it that way. But most for us, what it opened our eyes to was potential capability, interest there. Future Suffolk One students, future engineers that we need coming through. We need new talent coming through all the time. Technologies are changing, the world is changing, engineering is constantly evolving, and it's important that we have these new students coming through to do that with us. So we got a real benefit from that. Okay. So we're on the standout side as well. If anybody wants to come and talk to us, as myself and 2 other colleagues as well. So please feel free to come and see us this evening. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Richard. So next speaker we have for you this evening, I just want to introduce you to Karen Cross. She is from the New Anglia Local Enterprise Partnership, and She's going to give you a little bit of an overview about the Enterprise Advisor Network and how we closely work with them and all of the wonderful resources and employers that we have off the back of working with Karen and her team.
Hello. It is great to be with you tonight and to have the opportunity to speak to you. In fact, a number of years ago I was sitting where you was as a parent as my daughter started here in year 12 doing a combination of A-levels and B-Tech. And she's now gone to university and she's studying her vet degree, a vet nursing degree. And she had fantastic support when she was here. My association with 1 to 6th form though has been in a number of different ways. My background in work was in banking. I worked in London, worked there for many, many years. And then one day I decided that I wanted to do something different, so I retrained as a teacher. And I was teaching business studies, and I was fortunate enough to do my teacher placement here with the support of the business accounting and economics team. And it gave me really good insight in terms of education, but also teaching and working with young people. I decided that I wanted to find a job that allowed me to combine both my work experience with my knowledge of education and my short but wonderful teaching experience. So the opportunity came up to be an enterprise coordinator. So what do? We work very closely with a number of schools and colleges in Suffolk and Norfolk to really help support young people to be able to know what their next best step is. When I was at school, the question I feared the most that I was asked was, what do you want to do when you leave school? And I don't know about you, but it was quite a hard question to answer at such a young age. But the work that we do is to help young people to know not what their life plan is in terms of careers, but to really think through what their next best step is, whether that be in training, apprenticeships, further education going off to university, or to go straight into employment. I work for the New Anglia Local Enterprise Partnership, and we cover Suffolk and Norfolk. We work with local businesses, colleges and schools to drive growth and enterprise. I'm sure I don't need to tell you that we live in a fantastic part of the country. Suffolk and Norfolk is booming, it is growing, but it's also a beautiful place of the country to live. We're fortunate with the transport links we've got, whether it by sea, rail or road. A lot of our work is focused upon raising awareness of the opportunities, and we are seeing more and more businesses open up in Suffolk and Norfolk. And that means it creates job opportunities and also quite a competitive market for employers. The world of work is changing rapidly, and many of the sectors that we support today may not be as popular in the future, may not be such a demand, but we're seeing new sectors come in as well. And there's been some really exciting projects in Suffolk and Norfolk, not least with the opening of Sizewell and the further work that will be required there if they go on to develop Sizewell C. And a lot of our work is around developing skills for young people and adults to be able to go and have fulfilling careers. But the word careers for me covers more than work. It covers life skills, whether it be employability skills, whether it be knowing how to do personal finance and money management and budgeting, as well as those characteristics that were touched on earlier on in terms of knowing how to navigate the workplace. So as I said, we look at a number of different sectors. That is just an example. There are many, many more. And there's also new sectors that are starting to gather momentum, such as the space industry. And there's some exciting things that are happening in the space industry that we're finding out about and getting involved with, so we can bring those opportunities to the young people that we work with. My job as an enterprise coordinator is, as you've heard today, a common theme about preparing young people for the world of work. We do that in a number of different ways. We work with schools and colleges to help them embed the Gatsby benchmarks that were talked about. And these benchmarks sit across employment and also potential further education choices as well. And it's important that we ensure that every young person is included. There are no barriers. Young people today will often find that they face barriers that they perhaps put in their way. And our role is to aim to aspire young people to be able to reach high and to pursue what they want to do. Not maybe what their friends want them to do, but what they really want to do. We also work very closely with employers, a range of different employers, and it's important for them to be building their future talent pipeline. The world of work has changed, and for the first time ever perhaps, we are starting to see much more demand in terms of employers looking for employees, as opposed to people looking for jobs. That makes it competitive. That means businesses are working hard to try and attract people and then hold on to them. What we look to do is to give people the skills and the awareness of different industries to be able to navigate that workplace, to be able to make their choices. But for an employer, it means that they get an opportunity by engaging with young people to start to shape the talent pool, their future hires as well. We all do this in a range of different ways for a range of activities and events. It's all underpinned by the Gatsby benchmarks, and we've already referred to those. You can look at those afterwards in terms of what they mean. But these are measures and outcomes that we're looking for. And we help schools and colleges to build the evidence and the experience for their young people to encounter, to be work ready. We couldn't do it though without the support of our Enterprise Advisor Network. This is a combination of local businesses, but also individuals who have experience of the world of work, either by working for one of our employers, or perhaps they've retired and no longer work, but they have a wealth of different experiences. And we encourage them and want them to share those experiences with young people. They will work with schools and colleges to help embed the career plan, to help challenge that, is it really doing the right things? How are we measuring the outcomes? How are we measuring the impact? We'll be looking to see improvement in the Gatsby benchmarks in terms of what the schools are doing, and we will support them to do that. But perhaps most importantly, we will look to engage with employers, find new employers so that we can expose young people to as wide a spectrum of different industries and different skill requirements. And we do that through recruiting what we call our enterprise advisors. These are volunteers who are willing to spend time in schools and colleges and with young people, whether this is like Crane were explaining earlier, to do workshops, interview practice, to help with CVs, to help young people to understand what it might be to work in a particular industry or particular sector, to share with them their experiences of work and their learnings along the way, the things that maybe they wish they'd known when they were younger. So my role as an enterprise coordinator is to work very closely with the career leaders and the career teams at schools and colleges, but also to work with businesses and enterprise advisor. And finally, I just want to share an example of one of our enterprise advisors, James, who is still working with 1/6 form. James is in engineering, managing director of a local structural engineering company. James has run a number of different interventions involving young people. He's come into the college, he supports teachers with delivering the subject, but he also has got involved in various activities, including interview practice, CVs, very similar to what Crane talked through earlier. What James also has done, though, is he's offered apprenticeships. So he has hired a number of students from this college after they've completed their A-levels or their vocational qualification as an apprentice at his company. And those students are now working in the company. I went there myself a couple of weeks ago to see some young men and some young women who had studied here, sitting, working in the workplace, and they will work there a number of days a week, and then alongside that they are studying for their degree. So they are still obtaining the degree, but they're earning and combining what they are learning with the practical day-to-day experience. We also, like everyone, has a stall outside. If you'd like to know more about the work that we do, perhaps you work for a company yourself who might be interested in supporting us, or alternatively, perhaps you or you know of somebody who you would recommend to become one of our enterprise advisors, and we would love to speak with you afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Karen. And I just have to say, from my role as a careers coordinator here, the work that we do with the Enterprise Advisor Network, it could be anything from we have a meeting with a young person that might want some mentoring or coaching from a specific industry or sector, and we're able to actually go to the local enterprise network, find out which people we can work with and actually bring them into the centre. It's been absolutely wonderful. We also work with Alice Whitney, our other enterprise advisor as well, and she's actually from Creative Nations, so she brings in a lot of the creative industries into our kind of realm as well. Everything from the British Film Institute, the screen skills, and she also does the in-betweener stage at Latitude, so a lot of our students can go out and work with her on that as well. So lots of opportunities through that. So it's over really to me just to kind of give you a little bit of an overview for regards to careers. So this is the team. Some of us are here this evening. Louise, Nicola are actually out to be able to kind of speak to you about careers. You know, it's not just the vocational subjects, it's all the A-level subjects that we have here and how we can support with all of those progression options as well. We've also got Maria and Hannah, who are our work placement officers that Cass referred to. They'll be available for you to speak to as well out in the atrium to find out a bit more about if you've got any ideas as to how you might want to engage your young person into an employer engagement or work placement. What we provide, we have two, including myself, level 6 qualified careers guidance advisors here at the college. They can book in and have a one-to-one, 45 minutes initially, and then we look at how we can look after, signpost and support further with that. Like I said, we do work placements, the physical realm, but also the virtual realm as well, and we work with a lot of external organisations and promote an awful lot of opportunities that are available on a virtual experience as well. We of course support completely with the university application process, and you will be invited throughout the year to a variety of different information sessions around supporting your young person with going to university if that's the progression option that they want to take. As we keep mentioning, we've got this What's on Wednesdays newsletter, so what I would say is please get your young person to check their emails every Wednesday, because that's the best way that we can inform all of you of the information that is available with regards to progression here at One and all of the wonderful engagement opportunities they can get involved with. We offer an apprenticeship matching service, and what that means is your young person can sign up, receive a PDF of opportunities every week, as well as information as to the employers that we will have coming into the centre to talk about their apprenticeship opportunities, and also the kind of preparation for that as well. So be that helping with application forms, those kind of things as well. And we also do some employer-led information sessions. The last couple of years it has been Teams-based, so online. And it's a chance for any young person here, doesn't matter what sectors or information they want to look into, they hop online, can ask informal questions to that employer, and be able to kind of gain a real insight into different job roles, industry sectors and opportunities available. And again, if anybody would like to jump on and do an information session, then come and speak to us as well, because we would love to have more and more employers involved with that too. We also have the Aim Higher programme. Unfortunately, my colleague Rio can't be here this evening, but we do support a lot of our young people into things like medicine, into Oxford, Cambridge, veterinary medicine, dentistry, but also those higher tariff Russell Group universities as well. And what Rio does is she does a variety of different engagement opportunities through that as well. So some of the things that it could be workshops, presentations and trips that she arranges, guest speakers, and especially the information through our alumni as well. So students that have actually been to Russell Group or Oxford, Cambridge and coming back into the centre to talk about their journey and how they got involved with that and all the preparation that they need to do for that. And also one-to-one appointments, and finally sort of physical and digital resources. So on the flip side of what's on Wednesdays, Rio also does an Aiming Higher programme. So that's all of that information and the opportunities are available via that newsletter that goes out at the same time on Wednesday. But as you can see, it really is encompassing everything that your young person will need with the support that we have as part of our careers team. And that's Rio's details there. This presentation we will share with you as well following the event on our website. So I've mentioned a lot of our information sources. One thing I haven't mentioned is the progression at one site, which is something that is communicated as part of the tutorial programme. And that's something that we have an area on, as well as in partnership with the student services team. And again, the recordings for the lunchtime information sessions, information around all of the different pathways and upcoming events are all available via that progression at one site, which is a Google Classroom-based site. You can also follow us on Instagram. So, you know, get your young person to join up for the one placement and careers at one, and they'll be able to kind of see some of the things that we have got up to and some of the things that we've got in the pipeline as well. And then finally, going on about these Gatsby benchmarks, I know we've mentioned it a few times this evening, but we actually have an internal database called Dashboard, which I'm sure some of you might be familiar with, or some of your young people have started mentioning. But that's our main way of actually capturing a lot of that data. So what we have is every time that your young person gets involved with an encounter, being a work experience placement, a talk that they've gone to, have something that's come into the class, then that's actually input and updated onto that dashboard. And then at the end of the year, that young person can actually see on a timeline exactly all of the things that they've actually been involved with throughout that entire year. And that really helps with things with, you know, developing CVs, application forms and the like. So I'm just going to hand over now to, we're going to get into the kind of realm of our curriculum areas and a kind of a short version of the Institute of Directors, if you don't mind, Paul.
Thank you very much, Dana. So, good evening, everybody. My name's Paul Hinchcliffe. I teach business and accounting here. And one of the things I overlook is the Institute of Directors member scheme. So, can I have a quick show of hands? Which students are here tonight? Hands up, students. Okay, my presentation is directly aimed at you and parents to listen to what we do. So, if you're interested in what I'm going to say tonight in terms of my presentation, come and speak to me, and you can have the opportunity to be part of this scheme. So what are the Institute of Directors and what is it about? The Institute of Directors were founded in 1903, and within 3 years of them setting up as an organisation, they gained a Royal Charter at the time. They're a group of directors, a large group of directors now across the whole country, and they set standards for business. They also deal in a range of resources, information sessions, seminars, and also, it's been mentioned before, networking opportunities amongst directors and amongst businesses as well. Sixth Form College has a unique and exclusive link with the Institute of Directors. So every year, our college is the only college in the whole country which has the opportunity for 14 students from this college to work and be a member of the Institute of Directors programme. And we've had this for the last about 8-9 years now, and it's proved an invaluable link for many students wanting to go into business. But again, as has been said before, that on your CV is going to make you far more sellable than just having three straight A grades or 3 straight distinction stars. So it's going to get you into the realms of opportunities which you wouldn't otherwise have if you didn't engage in the scheme. So what will you do if you're a member of the student member scheme? Well, there's various different approaches to take that we do. First of all, there was a launch event, which was on Freshers Fair, and that's when the Institute Directors was launched for students to apply. As part of this, students were mentored by members of the Institute Directors. They'll be helping with CV writing, interview skills, presentation skills, public speaking, as part of the skills that students are requiring. And again, that comes under the character skills element of our 3 pillars. We'll also be attending IOD networking events. True to form during COVID, it was all online, virtual. Prior to COVID, some of the events we went to, we were invited to the Chinese Embassy to take part in the Chinese New Year with the Chinese ambassador, politicians, and our students got to hobnob around with top directors, with politicians, an amazing opportunity that was out of this world for some of these students, who literally is out of your comfort zone. And what I'm saying to students tonight is, the more you push yourself out of your comfort zone, the better those opportunities there will be for you. So we'll be going to networking events like that. We'll be going to business breakfasts, champagne evening dinner receptions with directors. We're going to visit companies, and also taking part in networking events. So the visits will be arranged with local businesses. Before, I'm not a local to Suffolk, but I've learned a lot through the IODs coordinating it about Suffolk. I never knew that the largest sushi factory in Europe is actually in Stoneham. I didn't actually realise that one of the companies based in Needham is one of the leading companies that makes fragrances for the top fashion houses for aftershaves and perfumes. There's so many businesses around this area that we don't actually know about unless you get engaged with them. So as part of this, students will be engaging with these businesses. So what is culminating in is eventually, with the opportunities that students will engage with networking, with these skills workshops, that jointly with the Business BTEC students, we'll be joining a prestigious leadership conference and Employability Day. That will be in June next year. This year was very, very successful. It was a business breakfast organised by the Business BTEC students, with businesses, networking, and students invited as well. The students obviously then helped to engage with workshops, coordinating those with directors, with different businesses as well. In the afternoon, it was a leadership conference for all students in our department, so 550 students doing business, accounting, economics, and other students were invited as well, with 2 main top speakers. So all their skills were put to good effect with that. So what will you, as a student here tonight, sat in the audience, get from being an IOD student member? Access to a whole range of benefits that actual IOD directors get. As a student, you will get that as well. Get to put it on your CV. You'll be on one of 14 students in the whole country that will have it on your CV this year. That will make you top sellable in terms of getting a job. Access to regular events, both online, in person, meeting different entrepreneurs, employers, business professionals. One example to that, we had a talk last year, just gone, by a 25-year-old millionaire who lives in Stowmarket. He went through his whole business, through the ups, the downs, the tears and the stress. Not just the money side, but all the blood, sweat and many tears to get to where he is. And he was a student in Bury, and he's now working with us, giving some advice to our students as part of the IOD network. Again, you will have the opportunity to attend IOD events. These are featuring elite speakers. We've had top economists giving talks. We've been to Finn Valley Golf Club recently. It was an online event where they had a top speaker there, and we joined virtually. So there's lots and lots of opportunities for students to get involved in. This was the student crop just gone. It's an opportunity for students to get dressed up, get your glad rags on when we go to events, and actually put yourself in these positions as a business potential leader in the future. This is IOD student, or IOD building in London. Hopefully, we are going to get there hopefully for our launch event. In terms of that, obviously in the past, because of COVID stopped it, hopefully we can get down to London and then visit all around. Any student here tonight, the deadline is tomorrow. What I'm going to do is extend the opportunity for students to apply until Wednesday, because many of you might be busy tonight, so I'll give the additional opportunity for you to apply by next Wednesday. I have a stand, I sound like a stuck record, I have got a stand outside, you can come and speak to me about it. However, there are sheets you can pick up and have a read through. It says exactly what you're going to do on here, and also the deadline dates. So the interview process, if you're selected, you'll be in the press, you'll be on going to hopefully to London for our launch event. And to finish off with 2 quick examples, one student who left here 7 years ago, he was part of the IOD, he wanted to go into investment banking. It's very difficult to get a job in London as an investment banker with no experience. He went to London, through the IOD with a link to get some work experience. And from that, he really sold himself. They were really impressed, and this company in London had a sister company in Zurich. He now lives in Zurich as a fully fledged banker. Okay? And that was the link through the IOD. It's quite galling when in February, when we're at work, he's sending pictures on the ski slope where his company paid for it. That is galling. And finishing off with one example, a student who left about 3 years ago, she wanted to go into fashion. She did business, she did fashion, and she did graphics. She knew she wanted to go into something involving fashion, didn't know what. Through the IOD, she met a link who worked in London in fashion. They put her in touch with Harrods, and she now works at Harrods as a fashion buyer. She's travelled to New York, to Paris, around the world as a fashion buyer. She's obviously on a training programme with that, but there are some opportunities. And again, that can be you. If you're a student sat here now, that could be you. And it can lead you to wherever it takes by you taking these opportunities as they arise. So now we'll be outside, but thank you for listening, and hopefully see some of you outside. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you very much, Paul. I'm conscious of the time, and I know that some of you might need to kind of get off within that hour, but if you can stick around, it would be wonderful if you can listen to some of the opportunities from some of the other curriculum areas that we have this evening. So I'm going to hand over to Chris Heath-Robinson, and we're going to be then joined by Paul Ray with regards to sports, and then we've also got Juliet Mansfield that will be talking a little bit about health and social care and beauty as well. So if you can sort of stick around for that, we would love for you to kind of carry on seated for those parts of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll try and be quick because I think Gaynor will probably play some music and shut me off like they do in the Oscars otherwise. So I'm just going to run you through some of the opportunities that we have in business, accounting and economics, some of the stuff we've done over the past year, and trying to give you a flavour of what we're trying to do with our students. A lot of it's already kind of been mentioned by other speakers, so I'm going to go through it in detail that is needed and without repeating it too much. So we spoke about the 3 pillars: qualifications, connections, character, strengths. How we do that in business, we look at the qualifications kind of speak for themselves, and that's not why we're here tonight, and our results are very good. The other 2 things we do are connections and character strengths. We do that in 2 ways. We've got something called CDT, so that's our character development time. So particularly for our level 3 and level 2 BTEC students, they have a lesson per week where we park their qualification slightly and we start to look at specifically their character skills. Okay, so we have lots of external speakers come in and we look at lots of different things for them. We also have something called DIL, Directed Independent Learning, and I'll run through a little bit in a moment about what we do in DIL and how we develop that. So character development time. It's a year-long programme, so in the first year of their studies, they have character development time as part of their business. So it's a year-long programme to develop students' personal, interpersonal skills. So we have lots of external speakers. We had a professor from the University of Suffolk come in last year, talk to students about transferable skills. What are they doing in their studies that's going to help them in the world of work, as an example. We have lots of businesses come in, talk to them about personal finance, how to build up a credit score, for example, was one of the things they looked at last year. Essential skills that these students are going to need to thrive and survive when they leave us. Developing computer skills. We expect students, I think, 16, 17, 18-year-olds, to be competent in IT. Generally, they're competent in using TikTok and social media, but we need to develop the skills that they need to go into the world of work. And generally they don't have those, or a lot of students don't have those and need them developing over the year. So we run courses in things like Excel, in word processing, things like that, to develop those skills that can be lacking in some of those students. We also have work experience, so in the second year of the course for our BTEC students, they've got a 2-week work placement. And the idea of that, if I remember back to my work experience, I went to work for a builders because that's what I wanted to do at the time. And I stood there with my hands in my pocket because health and safety didn't allow me to do a huge amount. That's now changed. The work experience that the students go on, they need to look at lots of different elements of that business and evidence that they know about it, that they've experienced it, and that they can go ahead and do that. So they have to look at things like health and safety in the workplace, risk assessments. They have to look at a kind of a staff appraisal, induction periods, things like that. So it's worthwhile stuff, and it gives them a real flavour of what they can expect when they leave us and go into the world of work. So it's really kind of structured in the way that we do that now. We also have the Directed Independent Learning, or DIL. So what we've created is a reward system, I suppose, to encourage our students to do stuff outside of lessons. Not us telling them to do it, but us directing them to areas that they can be doing to help develop them. They build up points for the things that they do. So within my remit, as Paul just spoke about, as the Institute of Directors. We also have Strive, which is developing women in business and economics. So something like 3% of directors of businesses are females. Many different reasons for that, but what we want to do is give our female students the skills, the opportunities to be able to be the next owners of businesses, the next directors, if they want to be. But we do that by getting lots of inspirational female speakers in to speak to those students, mentor them, work with them over the 2 years or year that they're with us. I'll show you a video in a second of our Employability and Leadership Conference, which Paul spoke about a moment ago, and I won't talk about it too much now, and you can have a look at the video in a second. We've also got Student Investor Challenge, so that's investing in the stock market, gives students an idea of what that would look like, and lots of different things on there. The next event that we've got is our Business Network Breakfast. So on the 14th of October, we have our first one of the year, and we're expecting around about 40, 50 different businesses to come in and have breakfast and informally speak with our students. So the students will have the opportunity to ask those businesses, what skills are you looking for? What do you want from me in a couple of years' time when I come to an interview with you? And Andrew spoke about those 2 connections that we want students to leave college with. But actually, if we can have more than that and they meet 40, 50 different employers in one go, then they're already well on their way. So quite informal, over breakfast, just speaking with the businesses that are coming in for that. These are some of the businesses we work with at the moment, and just within the kind of business, accounting and economics department. Traditionally, when I took over as head of department, we had a lot of accountancy firms, a lot of finance businesses, because you do business, accounting or economics, that's the route you go down, right? What we've tried to do over the last couple of years is diversify that, work with companies such as Magnus, which are all around logistics, Porter Felixstowe. I'm going to have a chat with Cranes in a bit, if they stick around, to see if we can diversify. Because actually, our students, they're going to go into the world of work, and any job that they go into is a business. And we need to kind of enlighten them to that and broaden their horizons when they're going out into the world of work. That actually any business is a business, any job you go into is a business, and they will have the skills to be able to work wherever they like. So have a look at this video, which I'm hoping will work, but technology's not normally my friend. So this was the Employability and Leadership Conference that we did in June that Paul spoke about. So it started with a business breakfast, which our BTEC students arranged, and Paul's IOD students arranged the last bit of the conference.
Today's event, the Employability and Leadership Conference, is all around developing 3 areas of our students. So we look at developing qualifications, which we do in their lessons, but we also look at developing connections and character strengths. The students have organised a lot of what's happening today, and in particular the business breakfast. As part of that, the students presented in front of businesses and universities. We'll also look at developing connections, so the students had the opportunity to speak to those business contacts and to universities. Potentially, they're going to be the people that employ them or are interviewing them in the future. Part of the day, we've also got the Ports and Logistics Expo, all about helping the students to understand what careers are available in those areas. And it's one of the biggest growing areas of employment within Suffolk and within East Anglia. So it's a really important opportunity for them to gather that information and look at potential of different careers in that area.
One of the fastest growing economies in the UK, with many job opportunities to be exploited and understood by young people. We've got a very vibrant ports and logistics sector, including ports, airports, seaports, road and rail, that are connecting the East of England and the international economy with UK PLC in the post-Brexit world. It's a very exciting sector, thousands of jobs, a lot of gross value added to the UK and the East of England economy, and we're here to promote the sector, its technology, its opportunity, and all the excitement there is to work in and around those sectors that are so vital to the UK.
So we've got guest speakers from Little City and the Mason Trust, and they're here to inspire our students to be the best students that they can be when they finish their studies with us at One. So all of these events that are going on today should help to develop those three areas that we're looking at: the qualifications, the connections and the character strengths.
Thank you very much. Paul, would you like to come and speak about sport? Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for those that are resilient enough to still be sat down and willing to listen. I'm very grateful. So my name's Paul. I'm head of subject for sport. I'm going to just keep things very, very short with regards to what we do. Lots of the things that we link into have already been discussed. I won't go over those again. There are a few unique things that we do that you might be interested in and might want to be aware of. So, as you might expect, within sport, the opportunities that we can offer are very much a team affair. So I'm incredibly fortunate to work with a very, very experienced group of staff who have enormous industry experience and lots and lots of links with industry partners. And that team's been together for quite a long time, so we've really forged some relationships and we've built trust with local employers where they look to us to provide them with their next generation of employees. A couple of those are Premier Education. They come in and work with our students, so they work in schools, they lead coaching sessions, holiday camps, lunchtime clubs, breakfast clubs. We supply those with enthusiastic students who are reliable, committed, interested, certainly mouldable, and they really benefit from that. So they come in and they do things much like you've already heard from other departments. They work with interview skills, they prepare them for applications. We also have some industry partners who will come in and do briefs that inform our units that we deliver. So we do a unit in business, investigating business in sport and leisure, and some of our partners actually come in and students pitch how they would improve the business, what they would do to diversify it, what kind of resources they would need, and it's pitched as a real life brief for those students to really make that unit come to life. We also offer some extracurricular opportunities, and these are a little bit different to other areas in that they're open to all students across the college. We have a YMCA fitness instructor's qualification that we offer. That's an industry standard qualification that allows someone to complete it to go straight into industry in a gym environment. If they do that in Year 12, we have a fitness suite here on site. Those students that complete that qualification in Year 12 actually run our fitness suite in Year 13, open it up for our students, for staff to use. They run inductions, they program, they complete all of the health and safety. So they've actually got not only the piece of paper that entitles them to go into that industry, but the experience that they might need that really sets them apart, which we think is quite unique. Aside from the things that we currently do, just to give you a bit of insight into what we plan to do and develop, I know that you're parents of current students, but you might have younger children who are coming up And we hopefully want to give you a flavour of our desire to continue to refine our practice and get better, and engage with more employers in a more meaningful way. So we have got a new course that is launching in September, that is a BTEC qualification, but it has industry standard qualifications in the fitness industry so that they will become fully qualified PTs. They can set up their own businesses as soon as they have finished that course. So we found that around 60% of our students went into university, and what we offered up to this point served them very well, but 40% want to go straight into industry. Creating your own business is a really attractive route at the moment, and the fitness industry is broadening out all the time. So we hope that that, launched in September 2023, will really add to our offer and will fill that gap that currently we feel we're not doing as well as we could to provide students with industry level experience and qualifications for them to go straight there rather than university. Okay, that's it from me. Thank you very much for listening. I really appreciate it. I will also be outside if you want even more. Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much, Paul. So we're just going to welcome as well Juliet, who's going to be talking about health and social care and beauty. And then that will wrap up our recording for this evening. And as I said, this recording will be available on our website at the end of the evening. Thank you.
So like Paul said, if you aren't interested in health, social care and beauty, please, I won't be offended if you need to go. But I will be out in the atrium afterwards as well to answer any of your questions. Okay, so first of all, both health and social care and beauty are vocational courses. Beauty is really a technical qualification. The work placement is absolutely so vital. A lot of our level 2 students do not necessarily stay and continue on to level 3 because the level 2 qualification gives them enough to work in industry. So when they go out on placement, some of them are offered jobs straight away and they stay there. We do like them to come back and do the level 3 because it gives them more experience and they can work better and higher in different salons because they get to learn different more techniques. However, you know, they do get that choice in terms of whether they go into industry or stay here. So far, so many different places, anything from Hindlesham Hall, Setford Hall, all the things that are listed here. And the best thing that the feedback we get, is particularly from Ofsted, was that not only are they getting the valuable experience, they're getting even more in terms of how to run a business, how to learn about it. So, you know, it's totally valuable for us. One of our students currently, Estelle, she received the highest grade possible in our level 3, literally gained employment straight away from placement. She did her placement there, they employed her, she got Employee of the Month as well as from the clients. She's already been promoted, she's already a senior therapist. She's already been back in to speak to our students and been a client so they can practice on her so she can give them feedback. That's the kind of thing we work with. So, as I said, totally invaluable. Similarly for health and social care, there's lots on here, but now COVID is letting us back out on placement. The process is that hopefully we will get 3 lots of block placements over the 2 years that they are with us. They have to do a minimum of 100 hours. We try and do much more because obviously going out into university or into work, the more experience they can get, and it is a vocational course, the better in terms of what employers want. Any health and social care opportunity, whether it's a charity shop, a school, food bank, you know, there's so many different things. It doesn't always have to be a nursery or a care home. They have to do different placements so they get a variety of experiences, including a child one. So that, you know, it's part of that practice is if you're going into any of this industry, you've got to be able to communicate with such a range of people. So that's the whole idea, is the 3 different placements. They could do a childcare, maybe a supported learning or an SEN need, as well as an elderly placement or something in the community. We don't limit it to that. What we say is, if you know of something in your area, do you know somebody that works in a place? Have you got somebody that's a contact as well? The more, the merrier. We don't limit. We try and make sure that there is an experience that they can value. As long as we can have a contact, we can do all the health and safety checks, all of those kind of things in place. We encourage as many different opportunities. We've literally just secured in the last sort of couple of weeks at least 17 placements across the whole of Suffolk in what was used to be the children's support services. So that's going to be currently for our year 13. So when they get to 18, we're going to trial it and then see what happens. But they get to shadow and work with health visitors, school nurses. It's going to expand hopefully to the social care team and early years and mediation support. So hopefully there'll be much more coming up. And just because I think most people always say that a lot of students have to go to university, there is that pathway, but for us, and particularly for health and social care, there is such a skills shortage across the sector, and there's a different way. And if students aren't sure, or your own child isn't sure about whether they want to go to university and make that commitment yet, work experience is a really good way of learning whether that is the right pathway, trying different things. And one of our students, she really wants to be a teacher, but she's not sure how or where, whether she wants to work with behaviour difficulties or in primary. So she did some work experience at Sidegate Lane, carried on doing the odd session, did a couple of lunchtime duties, and then they offered her a teaching assistant role. And she's doing that currently. That's her job. She's just started doing that. So she's getting that experience before she makes that decision and that commitment. Who knows, they might even actually pay for a university 1 day a week or something. They might support in terms of that. But again, similar to Paul, 50-50 in terms of our students go straight into employment or apprenticeships, or they come into university. I will be out on the stand up there to talk about a few of the other things. I'm just aware of the time. But in terms of other things that we can support, we work with Volunteer Suffolk. So if your student is doing the 1 O-level programme, that again they can find links, lots of support there for any charity work or volunteering is there. We also offer a level 2 qualification. We have 10 places. We will go around to students and talk about it, but it's linking with public health. They actually gain another qualification. They promote all the health services, put on campaigns that are relevant to our students. So there is that. And we have some other, lots of different micro-volunteering. We do all the charity events as well, so they can support us in terms of that, dressing up for children in need. We do the food banks. We collect donations for the Lighthouse domestic violence charity at Christmas. So all of those things they can be involved in and be part of, okay? So if anyone is in this industry, is also wants to be part of our world, please come and give me a chat as well. If not, come and find me and I'll speak to you about how the process works. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Juliet. So just to finish off this evening, really you can hopefully, this evening has given you a much bigger flavour as to what we do at One for employer engagement. Just how important it is to us that we give your young person as many opportunities that are possible to help them either experience something and try something to see whether it's the right thing for them, or actually kind of give them that passport to be part of that next talent pipeline within a variety of different sectors. We would be really grateful if anybody would be able to fill out our feedback form, and the feedback form, even for anybody that's watching the recording, will be available on the website as well. Please contact us, careers@suffolk1.ac.uk, if you have any questions about anything posed this evening, or if you do want to get involved yourselves as an employer, an organisation that wants to get involved further along the line, or as part of the lunchtime information sessions, workplace, whatever it might well be. Thank you once again for your patience, your time. It has overrun quite some considerably for this one. We will make sure the next one is streamlined much more, but hopefully it has been beneficial for you and for everyone that's listening. Thanks very much as well.